There is one single moment, one exact point in time where your money stops working for you and starts working like an army for you. Most people never reach this moment, not because they don't save, not because they don't invest, but because they quit right before it happens. What if I told you that the difference between staying average forever and becoming wealthy isn't how much you earn? It's whether you understand this one moment. This is Knox, and welcome back to Wealth Mode. Before we dive in, if you're serious about building real wealth through smart, automated systems, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel. We drop videos every single week that can completely change how you think about money, investing, and your future. So don't miss out, hit subscribe, and let's get into it. Today, we're breaking down the exact moment compounding stops being a slow, boring math trick and becomes an unstoppable wealth machine. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you stand and what it takes to flip that switch. Let's start with a question. Have you ever planted a seed and expected a tree the next morning? Of course not. You water it, you wait. Nothing seems to happen. Days pass, weeks pass, and then one day, it breaks through the soil. From there, growth becomes visible, fast, and almost unstoppable. Compounding works exactly the same way, and understanding this is the key to everything. Let's talk numbers because numbers tell the real story. Imagine you invest just $200 a month starting at age 25. You're earning an average annual return of 10%, which is roughly the long-term average of the stock market. In the first year, you've put in $2,400. Your account might show $2,500. That's it. Barely anything to be excited about. By year 5, you've contributed $12,000. Your account sits around $15,500. Still feels slow. Still feels like nothing special is happening. By year 10, you've put in $24,000. Your balance? Around $41,000. Better, but still not life-changing. Now here's where it gets interesting. By year 20, you've contributed $48,000 total, but your account balance? $152,000. Your money has more than tripled your contributions. By year 30, you've put in $72,000. Your balance? $452,000. By year 40, you've contributed $96,000, and your account holds over $1,200,000. Do you see what just happened? In the first 10 years, your money barely grew faster than what you put in, but in the last 10 years, your money grew by hundreds of thousands of dollars without you doing anything extra. That, right there, is the exact moment compounding becomes a wealth machine. But when exactly does this happen? Is there a specific point? Yes, there absolutely is. The moment compounding becomes a wealth machine is the moment your investment gains in a single year become larger than your annual contributions. Let's break that down with our example. In year 1, you contributed $2,400, but your gains were maybe $100. Your contributions are doing all the heavy lifting. But somewhere around year 17 or 18 in this example, something shifts. Your annual gains start to exceed your annual contributions. Suddenly, your money is earning more than you are putting in. That's the tipping point. That's when the machine turns on. After this point, every year your portfolio grows faster, not because you're saving more, but because your existing wealth is generating more wealth than your paycheck ever could. This is why financial experts always say the first 10 years are the hardest and the most important, because that's when you're building the base, the seed, the roots underground that nobody sees. Now, here's something most people get wrong about compounding. They think compounding is about time alone, but time is only half the equation. The other half is consistency. If you stop contributing during those crucial early years, even for just 2 or 3 years, you push back your wealth machine moment by far more than 2 or 3 years. Why? Because compounding builds on compounding. Every dollar you don't invest today isn't just $1 lost, like it's that dollar plus every future dollar it would have generated, plus every dollar those dollars would have generated. This is called the compounding gap, and it's one of the most expensive mistakes in personal finance. Let's look at a real comparison. Person A invests $200 a month starting at age 25, with no breaks, for 40 years. Person B invests the same amount starting at the same age, but takes a 5-year break between age 30 and 35 because of a career change, debt payoff, or simply losing motivation. By age 65, person A has around $1,200,000. Person B, despite eventually catching back up and contributing the same total years, ends up with around $850,000. That 5-year gap costs person B over $350,000. Not because they invested less overall in raw dollars necessarily, but because those specific 5 years were the years closest to the ignition point of compounding. The years where the snowball was just starting to roll. This brings us to an important concept. The earlier you start, the smaller the sacrifice needs to be to reach your wealth machine moment. If you start at age 25, $200 a month might get you to that tipping point around year 17 or 18. But if you start at age 35, you might need to invest $350 to $400 a month to reach that same tipping point within a similar number of years, simply because compounding has less runway to work with. This is not meant to discourage anyone who's starting later. It's meant to show you why urgency matters more than perfection. So how do you actually get to this moment faster? Let's talk strategy, because this is where wealth mode comes in. First, automate everything. The biggest threat to compounding isn't market crashes, it's you forgetting to invest, getting distracted, or pulling money out during emotional moments. Set up automatic transfers from your paycheck directly into your investment accounts. Make it so you literally never see that money in your checking account. Out of sight, out of mind, working in the background. Second, reinvest every single dividend and gain. Many investors make the mistake of taking dividend payouts as cash. This might feel rewarding short term, but it dramatically slows down your timeline to the wealth machine moment. Always choose automatic dividend reinvestment, also known as DRIP, on every account that offers it. Third, increase your contributions gradually. You don't need to jump from $200 a month to $1,000 overnight, but every time you get a raise, increase your investment contribution by half of that raise. If you get a $100 a month raise, put $50 of that toward investing. You'll barely notice the difference in your lifestyle, but your future self will notice a massive difference in your net worth. Fourth, avoid lifestyle inflation in your 20s and 30s. This is the most critical window. Every unnecessary expense during these years isn't just costing you the price tag. It's costing you that money's entire future compounding potential. A $500 impulse purchase at age 27 could be worth $5,000 or more by retirement age. Fifth, choose low-cost index funds or ETFs that track the overall market. High fees, even just 1 or 2% annually, can eat away tens of thousands of dollars over decades. Compounding works both ways. It compounds your gains, but it also compounds your fees and losses. Keep your costs as close to zero as possible. Now let's talk about something most finance channels never mention: the psychological side of reaching your wealth machine moment. For years, your investment account will feel boring. It will feel like nothing is happening. You'll check your balance and see small incremental changes. Some months it might even go down due to market dips. This is the period where most people quit. They convince themselves this isn't working, or I'll start again later when I have more money. But here's the truth. This boring period is not a sign of failure. It's the setup. It's the planting and watering phase. The tree is growing roots you cannot see. The people who reach true financial freedom are not the ones who found some secret hack or magic stock. They are the ones who kept watering the seed during the boring years, without giving up, without pulling their money out, and without comparing their slow progress to someone else's highlight reel. Once you cross that tipping point where your annual gains exceed your annual contributions, everything changes. Your portfolio starts to feel alive. You'll log in one day and realize your account grew by more in that single year than you contributed in the last 3 years combined. That's when compounding stops being a concept in a textbook and becomes your reality. And here's the best part. Once the machine turns on, it doesn't slow down. It accelerates. The bigger your portfolio gets, the bigger the dollar gains become, even at the same percentage return. 10% on $100,000 is $10,000, but 10% on $1 million is $100,000. Same percentage, wildly different impact. This is why wealthy people often say, the first million is the hardest. After that point, the machine is running at full speed, and growth becomes almost automatic. So where are you right now on this timeline? If you're in the first 5 to 10 years of investing, understand that you are in the most important phase. Stay consistent, automate your contributions, reinvest everything, and trust the process, even when it feels like nothing is happening. If you're already 10 to 15 years in, start paying close attention to your annual statements. Compare your yearly gains to your yearly contributions. The moment those numbers cross, write down that date. That is your wealth machine ignition point. From that day forward, your strategy can shift from building to protecting and optimizing what you've created. Let's bring this all together. Compounding becomes a wealth machine the moment your investment gains in a year exceed your annual contributions. For most consistent investors starting in their 20s, this happens somewhere between year 15 and year 20, depending on contribution amounts and returns. But the date itself isn't the most important part. What matters is what you do in the years before that moment arrives. The consistency, the automation, the patience during the boring years, the discipline to keep contributing even when the market dips, even when progress feels invisible. Remember, every single wealthy investor went through these same boring early years. Nobody skips this phase. The only difference between them and everyone else is they didn't quit. If this video gave you a clearer picture of how compounding actually works and where you stand on your own journey, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Wealth Mode, because next week we're diving into another strategy that could dramatically speed up your path to financial freedom. This is Knox reminding you, the machine is already starting. Don't quit before it turns on. See you in the next video.